What's up, guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars, and today I want to talk about how to create winning designs that are actually going to sell on Merch by Amazon. Let's get into it. So, what really matters with these Merch by Amazon shirts is how good the design is. We've all seen those shirts where it looks like someone literally took an image that's a square, put it on a shirt with some text on it, and I guess prayed to God that it sold. But you never want to be that person, and you never want to be the person who has a winning phrase, but you just have a terrible design, and it costs you getting a ton of sales, because there are so many times that there are those people that have a great phrase, but they just sucked on the execution of creating a winning design that would actually make people want to wear that shirt. So the goal on merch is to create designs that people actually want to wear. You know, great phrases are great, but if you don't want to be seen in that shirt, kind of nullifies what you're trying to do. So layout is the main thing to focus on, and we're really going to be focusing on text-based designs, because text-based designs are really what my bread and butter are. So, you know, whenever it comes to a text-based design, the layout of the text is key. You want to keep the text laid out in simple shapes. And what that means is you want the text to be either in the form of a circle or a triangle or a square. You don't want to have free-form text clouds, because there's no organization to that. And really your eye is going to be not drawn to it. You're going to not want to look at that design. It's just going to look off for whatever reason. And next is the size organization of the text. You know, most people have the best way to think about this is the biggest font on the shirt is going to be read first, next biggest is going to be read second, and the next biggest is going to be read third. I'll put a graphic up here that displays that exact image, because your eye is immediately drawn to what's biggest, and then what's the next biggest, and then what's the next biggest. It doesn't matter where it's placed on the shirt. I know a lot of people have the assumption, because they've seen a graphic that shows like people make the Z, so you start here, you go here, go here, go here, and then go here. While that's true design-wise, you're staring at a shirt, and a shirt usually has text, and we're talking about text in this video, so the Z doesn't really work. So whenever you're doing text on a shirt, you want to make sure the first thing you want the person to read is the biggest and the boldest. And if you want to add color, that's the best way to do it. Then what you want them to read next, a little bit smaller, next, a little bit smaller. Of course, don't make it look like an eye chart. That's just terrible. And the heavier amount of text needs to be at the bottom. So this creates usually a triangle. So if you have a longer phrase, you want to put the larger phrase or sentence towards the bottom of this shirt. So, I love pretty unicorns. You might do I love pretty and then unicorns at the bottom, since unicorns is the longest word. I hope that makes sense. But next thing with text-based designs is using shapes to help the element of the design. You don't want it to be like, think about a circle. Think about, you know, those people who put a text here, or it's like an arch. Never mind, I'll just put an image right there. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it using my hands in a video, but reference this design. This is what is great. It's, you know, got the lines to imply the circle. It keeps the text organized. It's not free form. You know, the graphic goes with it, and it flows, you know, as far as size goes. So these are the great things whenever you want to look at a text design. Now the next thing is colors. If you want to use colors in a text design, that's acceptable. Make sure you do it right, though. In my opinion, you should really only use white and black. Like white on a black shirt, black on a white shirt. If you're gonna do additional colors, like let's say you do red or a version of red, maybe pink on your shirt, this is what you need to do. And I suggest, this is me of course speaking as a designer, someone who knows the capabilities of Photoshop, I suggest you use Photoshop because it's going to give you the best opportunity to use color in the best way. And this is the only way that I really know how to use, or manipulate colors to make it look good. So use the hue slider in Photoshop if you're going to change colors. If you're going to go from red to blue, do not just randomly pick a color in that hue square section. Use the hue slider and keep it within the same saturation and brightness, but just change the blue. If you notice the blue doesn't look right, then change the red. Don't have two completely different brightnesses and saturations of blue and red though. That just, put it on a shirt, you're gonna notice that the two colors don't look right. But if you make them a different hue, so the brightness and saturation of the red is the same as the brightness and saturation of the blue, you're gonna notice those colors go really well together. And if you wanna add a third color, which 3 colors max is what I would suggest for text-based designs. Red, white, and blue is great for St. Patrick's Day. Black, purple, and orange is great for Halloween. Red, green, and white is great for Christmas. Do not go over 3 colors. It just, for whatever reason, it doesn't look good. And remember, keep the saturation and brightness the same if you're going to change the colors. In my opinion, if I'm going to do 3 color, or usually I'll just do 2 colors. So with some shirts I'll have like green, and then I'll change the saturation of the green for a second color. I'll put an example right here. But that's the best way to go about using colors for your merch designs. And fonts. Fonts are so important because you can have a great saying on a shirt, but if it just looks dumb because of the fonts that you chose, nobody's gonna wanna wear it. The worst offense of all is whenever people use those super scripty fonts to, I don't know what they're doing, what they're trying to get across, but it's on women's shirts and it's like a super scripty font that's like a paragraph long. That is a terrible idea. Do not do that. The best thing to do whenever you're using fonts is to have 3 fonts that you use, and that's it. I use Babus New, I use Foxtrot something, and then I've got a script font that is always a go-to. You will notice if I show you most of my designs that I rarely stray from those 3 fonts because I know that they work well together. Well, the Fox thing and the Babus thing don't really go together, but the Fox or Babus and the script go together, and the Fox thing is just, in case I need like a cutesy shirt or a cutesy design text. But find 3 fonts that you really like. 1 bold, 1 script, and 1 that's kind of just somewhere in between. It's like a decorative font. And master those 3 fonts, and it's going to be so much better for your designs in the long run. The best thing that you can do is get, like the Babus New has different variations of that font. So get a font family. So it's like Babus Heavy, Babus Light, Babus Regular. And that way you're able to use a different style of font on the shirt, but you're not completely changing it. So it's just more appealing to the eye because you're looking at something, you can tell all of these things go together, but they are all slightly different. So do not just throw up 5 different fonts on a shirt. Make sure you've got 3. Make sure 3 in your wheelhouse. I really wouldn't use more than 2 on a t-shirt design. And yeah, so those are the golden rules for fonts. And as far as vectors go, I do use vectors like vector images for t-shirt designs. Those are extremely helpful, but make sure that you pay for the vectors. You don't want to get in a situation where the person who you get it off of Google Images and then suddenly the person who actually owns that image decides to hit you up whenever they see that your shirt's taking off, and now they're suing you for everything that you made on that shirt. Not a good plan. So make sure that when you get the graphic images, you pay for them, and just get a vector pack for whatever your niche you're in. So I'm in the vegan niche, so I usually just get a vector pack every now and then of like leaves and just swirls and stuff, because most of the vegan shirts that I do are feminine. And if you have the opportunity, make your own. With some of the more intense vegan stuff, I make my own images. That way I don't have to worry about copyrights, or if someone copies it, I can easily say, this is a completely original image, you can't do that. So that's the best thing to do as far as using graphics with your text-based images. And these should be some pretty great tips to help you simplify the t-shirt design process, because it doesn't need to be a super complicated thing. It's putting sayings on a shirt and maybe putting a vector image in there. You don't always have to have a vector image. The last few shirts that I've sold, it's just text, just straight text. I don't even think it was just white text on a shirt. So it doesn't have to be complicated, guys. But yeah, that's it. So go back, rewatch this if you need to, write it down. No more than 2 fonts on a shirt. Try to keep it just simple white text. Vector images, barely use those. Keep the layouts organized. Squares, triangles, circles. Yeah, squares, triangles, or circles. And that's it. Remember, like and subscribe if you appreciate the content, if you want to see more. And remember, someone's going to do something great every day, guys. Why not you?